Morbius, the new Marvel movie in the Sony Venom verse that kinda sorta has a place in the mainline MCU, though possibly as a side universe. I don't know. This has always been confusing, and Spider-Man No Way Home just made it 10 times more confusing. And yes, there is a connection, not a spoiler since it was in the trailers. Speaking of trailers, this movie clearly had extensive reshoots. There's quite a lot of scenes in the trailers that are just absent from the film. That's fine, it's just a thing that I noticed. Anyway, Morbius follows the titular Dr. Michael Morbius, a world-renowned doctor with a blood disease that sets out to find a cure by splicing bat genes with human. Of course, movie science happens and he ends up splicing himself into Marvel's sometimes villain, sometimes knight, Morbius the Vampire. And we all know how much I like vampire films, but this was fine. It's weird to see critics hating on it so much. I expected this to be trash, like cheesy, poorly paced garbage, and while that certainly was with the opening scene, the full thing wasn't nearly that bad. Mediocre, sure, but not anything terrible. The opening is just a really bad example as it's so quickly paced, exists just for background exposition, and is just so stupidly cringy. These cartoonishly evil bully characters who just exist to bully crippled kids, names getting thrown around and quote given, which is the stupidest thing ever, and a friendship formed in literally 5 seconds. I can't. It's too quick, too stupid, and frankly completely unneeded. Thankfully, it's a short scene and the movie opens up a bit more with the Doctor and such, and despite all the hate that Jared Leto gets, he's fine. Not spectacular or anything, but fine. Matt Smith as his friend is also fine, charming, clearly having a ton of fun with his role, but that's about it. There's no one that really stands out in this film, but no one does a particularly bad job either. Maybe the comic relief cop whose jokes never land, but otherwise it's harmless. The effects are also very, very meh. The style looks way too similar to Venom, even having the same action style of sudden slow-mo bullet time moments in the middle of action scenes before continuing. It's at least visually interesting, but it's way too similar to be unique, and that's not the only thing this film borrows from Venom. There are quite a few base story beats that are directly taken from the Venom film. That's not terrible, but it's a bit bland. The fights aren't even as interesting as Venom's. There are a few, but they're all ridiculously quick. Even the final battle is over so fast, it's honestly disappointing. And it's all censored. This is a vampire movie and there's barely any blood. And what blood there is edited to be black instead of red. It's an incredibly weird and distracting choice, and it just harkens back to my review of Venom. Go full R. Be gory. Rip people apart. There's a couple really nicely done horror moments that I feel could have been the whole film if they had focused on it, but it needed to be bloody. And there's just none here, ironically enough. And that ending, it just ends and moves on to its 2 post-credit scenes, which, to be fair, do make me curious to see more, especially with where Morbius is at the end. But after the final battle, it's just over in 2 minutes. There's a quick reveal lasting a split second, and then it's over, and it feels really weird. It's hard to talk about it without going into spoilers, but there you go. If I were to make this film better, I'd make it a straight horror film. Maybe erase the villain and focus on a personal struggle, but I'd lean a bit more into the gore, the action, and horror scenes, because again, the horror scenes are the best part of this movie, and there's only like 2, but they're so creative and well done. Well, not particularly creative, but they're just so well done. And again, those were fantastic, but it's still a Marvel property, so I guess we'll see. Probably not, but who knows. Morbius gets a 6.5 out of 10 from me. Hey guys, thanks for watching another one of these. Oh my god, I wanted this to be good. I did, but I'm frustrated. It doesn't deserve the hate it did. Just very clearly off the bat, it didn't at all. The critics were way too harsh. I feel like they only stayed for the first 15 minutes and went, "Where's the fucking vampire?" Shows up later, guys. You gotta give it time. It's an origin story. Too many of those, but whatever. We don't really have any Morbius films, so interesting. It's a good character, at least. I like where they're going with it. He needs to cut his goddamn hair. Otherwise, yeah, it's just fine. It doesn't deserve the hate at all. It's mid. It's mid-bias. Mid-bias. Anyway, I mean, we'll see how that goes. I'll be checking out Sonic 2 later this week. And then another one that I'm really excited to check out fairly soon. So stay tuned for those. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notifications when those reviews go up. And that's it. Have a great day, and if you're not, have a better one. See ya. I'm just a ghost in your stereo.
shipwreck in the undertow. You're just a lost soul. And I'm just a ghost in your stereo.